with our claw. Wow.
Princess of Power.
That is huge. Princess of Power finishes
out.
9th. Supreme Polarity is out as well.
Oh, rest in peace.
I picked. Oh, that was 1-4-6-10. I went 1-4-9-10. So close.
I
there.
went 4-9-10-7.
How are you guys going, man? You like 11 hours straight right now, right?
Yeah, we're in 12 hours and 20 minutes.
Are you banging Budweisers or Red Bulls?
moved on to the Buds.
I got 6.
Moved on to the mezcal soon. Hey?
Very special guest for everyone. We got Chris Ebbs from the ZED RUN team, creative director from ZED RUN, on to answer a few questions. Thank you very much for joining us.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure. Love what you guys do. Love I love what the community does. It's all, like I say all the time, ZED RUN is about the community. So, you guys are an extension of that and doing amazing. So appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. So we've got a few questions for you.
Yeah. Be gentle.
We will be. So we're going to start off with tournaments. We've seen, this is the second tournament now. We've got another one actively going already, the Pity Point tournament. How do you see tournaments fitting in with the long-term vision of ZED?
Oh, they're going to play a big part, a huge part in the long-term vision. I mean, we're just getting started again, and we're testing the waters. We're throwing in a couple of tournaments and collecting the data and listening to the feedback. The Pity Point tournament is one of them, and that's another test to see if we can, generate more tournaments to get all horses active. There'll be a variety of tournaments that hopefully will include, some of the lower stables as well. So it's not just the B stables that are, able to come in and do their thing, but, find ways that we can get these smaller stables activated as well and have fun and compete. So that's always been a mission for us. It's one we'll continue to do. I mean, tournaments is one way of doing it, but we've also got other things up our sleeve to help, open the game up for everyone. That's the goal.
Nice. And I think a knock-on effect we've seen in the past few days is the market picking up a little bit with the announcement of the Pity Point tournament. So,
yeah, absolutely. And the Pity Point tournament is just one. It's first. We'll try that one out, and then we'll see. Maybe we'll do one where it's 8th place. And all the way down the ladder. And we'll figure it out. We said it time and time again. We've also got custom races coming. The goal is to have the community create user-generated tournaments and races. You know what I mean? Give you guys the control. Like, we are an ecosystem, and we are enabling our community, and you guys are, basically the clients. You're the investors, so we have to do our part to make sure that you get all the utility that you need.
That's amazing, man. On to the next one. We saw the Netflix 2.0 race yesterday. The first of the sponsored races coming to the platform. How are we looking in terms of future partnerships, and what can we expect those to look like going forward?
Yeah, look, partnerships. Our partnerships team has been doing an amazing job. I mean, aligning with Netflix, aligning with NASCAR, Atari, Stella. I mean, you got to think of it again. Like, we got to slow down a bit too, right? Like, ZED is a long-term play. We're not here just to kind of pump and dump or just like create everything at once. Again, cliche, Rome wasn't built in a day. Neither was Google. Neither is ZED. It's going to take time, and it's there's going to be bumps in the road. The first Netflix wasn't was one of them, but the second one was then exactly how it should have been, right? And we would have loved to even I was listening to the community. We're working trying to get that lead up. Like, it would have been nice to lock in the race of the 12 and then give it even a week where people can just hype, like marquee matchup, like stuff like that will happen. But it's just, again, we're restructuring, we're rebuilding, it takes time to build a really, really good team and a really strong team. And man, we're making some amazing hires. Like, I've been talking to some incredibly talented people all week that have come on board, and it takes time. It takes time to find talent. Anybody who's been recruiting, it takes can take 3 to 6 months to find the right candidate, and then you got to onboard them as well, right? So we're patient. We want to find that top talent, and we're getting people from the likes of Facebook, Google, bigger gaming companies jumping in, and it's super exciting. So once we get that all together and have that foundation, the strong team ready to hit the ground running, man, we're going to be able to build stronger, build faster, and then and be more responsive. But yeah, so and just to come back, I'm really good at sidetracking. But just to come back to that, I'm brilliant at this. You should see some of my talks; they just always go off to the side, end up somewhere else. But no, to come back to Netflix, I mean that race yesterday was killer, and the job Zook and his team, Boots and Doughboy did was awesome. I was watching that. I was meaning to jump on and give you guys some love, but time got away. But that race was killer, man. And even in that short time, the way that you guys built that up was really, really, really cool. And the race was fantastic. So yeah, more of that. There's going to be more partnership races. There's going to be more prize pools. That is going to be one of the big things coming forward, because again, we need to give stuff back to the community. I mean, the fact that somebody took away 45K yesterday blows my mind.
Yeah.
What, in your opinion, like in the near future, what do you think the juice is when it comes to racing? Is it going to be stakes races? Is it going to be tournaments? Is it going to be grinding away, on the 12 races? I mean, the 12 horses racing in a single straight line, as many as you can with stamina. Is there a clear vision as to where you'd like to see the specific juice in terms of the racing side of it happen?
Yeah, there is a clear vision in it, but again, we're also we're still developing and getting feedback, right? We're focusing on the tournaments at the moment.
Okay.
Tournaments is a huge play for us as well. But like I said, when custom races comes along as well, then the players will be able to define races and create their own entry points and entry levels and all that, and what criteria there is to come in. So, but that's it's down the track still, and I'm not going to give you guys any dates. I did that very early on, and you guys and Twitter ate me up, which was fun and understandable.
No, I'd like to hear that tournaments is a big focus, because I think that you can just see with events like today that it's easy to see the community come around it, and it creates an environment where any horse
keeps the community
really
together.
come out and run.
Oh, yeah, and I'll add to that, the live events around this. Zook, you were in New York, right?
Yeah.
That was the most humbling experience I've ever experienced in my career. I guess in my career, being a creative, to see all those people come together, and that electric energy and passion was insane. So combined tournaments would then a way to then franchise and enable our community to make these pop-up events, so it becomes live and it becomes real and it becomes the people. So it's not just all digital, but it's the blend between the digital and the real. Because again, the one thing that I took away from NFT NYC and all these conferences I've been to is the passion of the people who attend these events, and are really, everybody wants to be a part of this, because it's the unknown, but we know it's the Web3, we know it's the new internet, and we know everybody's going to contribute to it, right? And we need to enable our community to be contributors as well. So there's some things in the background there we're working on that, again, are going to echo those tournaments, but also make it more real.
Nice, really nice. Next question for you. We've seen skins are coming to the game in December, which I'm buzzing about personally. What is the long-term vision for skins, and not necessarily skins, but other add-ons to horses? So
look, there's a lot on the plate there, but again, it's secondary. Skins are big. Skins are going to be huge. There's a thing we call skin livery, and there's a without giving anything away, there's a tool we're working on which is going to be massive, and I'm going to just leave it at that. I was saying that on ZG's podcast the other day, or on his Twitter space as well. I'm so excited about it. I'm playing with it every day, and it's going to be something, again, what I just said before, it's about enabling the community. So you don't have to put two and two together to think, but I'll let you guys speculate, of course. But what it's going to do is it's going to be huge, and skins are a big play. They're a big play for brands and sponsorships, of course, but they're a big play for personality, identity, agency, being able to represent what you believe in, and And again, like I think it's been a year ago, but I wrote a little article about how our horses are an empty canvas, and this NFT movement, it's about art as well. I mean, it's about many things, but what we can do is we can bring in that artistic ownership and that artistic, collector's item and pair that with utility on our horses. So it's a huge play for us, and it's super exciting.
Someone asked in the chat, how important and how high of a priority is it for the team right now when you look at the tournament is coming to an end, that there is a bunch of horses that may be in certain classes, such as C1, that may not fit exactly, the quality of the horse, and the only thing that could potentially get them out of that would be a remake of the current structure as it is. Is the team currently placing that as a high priority behind the scenes to make sure that, going forward, what happens within a tournament maybe doesn't negatively impact, your standing in normal races outside?
Yeah. We're looking at that. I mean, the class system, it's always something that we're working on and looking to better. And you can see that as well in the tournament with the point systems. We do one thing, we test it, we get the feedback, we look at the data, and then we iterate, and sometimes, we might not be iterating as fast as the NFT and crypto space wants us to, but, we're patient, we put our heads down and we do the work, and we know we're listening and collecting all that data. So it's important.
And I don't know this answer, so I'm asking as naive because I don't know anything about the blockchain or computer science or testing. But I've always thought, like, when you guys test stuff behind the scenes, like, kind of what is that process, and how much can actually be done behind the scenes, and how confident can you guys get before at some point you just got to be like, we got to try it out?
We can get pretty confident. We've got something called the Goerli network where you can test off Ethereum network, and it's a test network. But you can never anticipate what the community fully feels, right? You know that very well, and you can see that in the NFT space. But we get there, like, we feel like we're in a good space, but we're not just doing random shit and just dropping it and then waiting for feed. Like, we're actually critical. We're super critical. We have our team's growing, and we're very, we think we're doing the right thing, but you never know until you put that in front of the community and have them, like, the true, litmus test basically is to give it to you and the community, and then you guys have at it, and we appreciate it.
Awesome. And going back to one of your early points, we've seen the ZED team growing rapidly. From a player point of view, we've seen a lot of changes now with the product. We've seen a lot of class changes, the breeding minimums updated very quickly. How are you feeling in terms of how the teams are working together? Do you feel like everything's starting to click? And
Look, I'm as impatient as the rest of them. Do you know what I mean? But I'm also experienced enough, and I've been in the game long enough to understand that things take time, right? So I understand when things aren't moving as fast as we ideally want it, or the community wants it, but again, it takes time, and like I said before, like the team is growing. We're making some insane, awesome hires. I couldn't be more excited about that. And it's we went from 30 in the start of the year, we're up to almost 100 right now, and we anticipate being way beyond that at the end of next year, right? So it takes time to gel. It's like, again, I'll take a basketball analogy, right? You can bring all the talent together, but it takes time to gel. And so we're not concerned. We know we've got the right people, the right roadmap ahead. So
you feel like it's starting to come together now, like starting to gel.
Absolutely.
Better.
Absolutely. And you see, absolutely. And it's only going to, like I said before, is once all these new hires get in and they get comfortable, right? It takes time, right? It takes time to find your feet in the organization, and especially a growing organization. Like, we're going from startup to legitimate business, right? And that's going to just take some time. But once we are gelling and we are in synergy and are in sync, man, we're going to be able to move much faster and much stronger. And it's, there's a lot of soft skills that are involved with that. I mean, I'm sure you guys would know when you work in companies, it's about also handing over responsibility as founders as well. Like, finding the right people where you can then give them trust, and they will build up trust, and finding that the way that we click together, and that's going to happen for sure.
Yeah, I've got a good question.
It is happening.
Yeah. As a creative head of creativity for Zed, what is the one thing you're most looking forward to in the future of Zed?
A lot. Look, I'm looking forward to getting these tournaments right and getting them on top, like getting that going at full speed. But at the same time, there is so much on my, creative and 3D and my design team's creative roadmap. We've spoken about in the past. I really want to bring in these emerging technologies to create emotional engagement with a user and the horse. Like already, people are in love with their horses in one way or another because they are. They're creating these identities, right? Which is amazing. But we can enhance that by using things such as VR and augmented reality and mixed reality. I'm very bullish on that stuff. That's what I've that's my bread and butter from back in the day. But at the same time, the skin, getting the skins on and again giving people the utility to identify and customize their horses, right? And to not only you're going to race your horse, but you can now brand it with something that you are aligned with, whether it's a brand or whether it's a piece of artwork or something else. There's a lot to look forward to.
There's a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll just go quickly. Someone's asking in chat, and it's something that kind of gets brought up quite often, is super coats. You haven't got to tell us what your plan is, but do you have like
no. Super coats are being worked on, right? I mean, been in meetings this week talking to my team about how we're gonna honor super coats. There's a few ideas up in the air on whether which way or not it's going to honor it, but we are going to find something for those super coat owners for sure.
Amazing.
Without saying anything, right? I'm really good at giving you the answer without giving you the answer.
Yeah.
When the team does something that is a decision that's received quite polarizing by the community, and you have and you guys obviously see what people are writing in Discord or on Twitter, and when so you make a decision that there's like tons of people outspoken about and people saying they disagree with it. What are the true, honest, like internal discussions that you guys have when you release something and you get real, dislike and negative feedback from at least half or the majority of the community?
Look, the negative, don't get it, like I say this all the time, like the negative feedback is actually really good. It's passion. It's because people care. People are invested, right? And that's a good thing. My old, basketball analogy, my old basketball coach, when I was playing, he used to shout the shit like, Chris, do this, Chris, do that. And one day I went up to him and I went, hey, coach, man, what the fuck? Like, why are you fucking shouting at me all the fucking time, right? He's like, Chris, the day I don't shout at you, the day I don't talk to you is the day you should worry, right?
Stop caring.
And this is kind of the same thing, right? It's like you guys are harping up and the community is harping up because they care. There's a true passion. And we've got a long-term goal, and our focus is always going to be growing the business, and in terms of growing the business, that's growing the investment for the players and the community, right? And we have a long-term plan there, so we understand there's going to be peaks and troughs, but as long as it peaks and troughs and it goes up, kind of like I guess following Ethereum over the years or whatever it is, it's up and down, and if you come in at any month, it's like, oh man, this is shit, man, it's going to crash, right? But you look at the long term, we're moving upwards and we're going where we want to go. So we listen to the community and we respect their perspective and we take that on board as well. But we might not react instantly. And again, this is the Twitter spaces and the NFT space and the crypto space is like, oh, you got to move fast. Again, Zed, we're not moving like that. We're moving that long game. It's a moon landing we're prepping or beyond. It takes time.
And how do you feel about that? Just as a personal question, as a human being, like, how much do you have to juggle wanting to give, your community exactly what they want the next day versus realizing if this thing is going to get where it wants to get to, you may agree with what people have to say, but yourself that you may not be able to accomplish that, for 8 months. How do you juggle that?
Oh, look, it's fuck, man. Like we all, criticism's criticism, right? I think everybody who's human, it can hurt them a bit, and but at the same time, we understand the long play here, and we're building for the future, and there's going to be a sense of like, again, I'm on here just to talk to you guys and give you guys, as many answers as I can give you. but there's got to be a sense of trust as well, right? Like you guys are invested in us, and we're invested in you. Again, like my top takeaway from NFT is to see how bullish people are on ZED RUN. But reversely, I say I'm so bullish on our community. Again, the stuff that Joe and Bob and yourself, Zook, and all the other, ZG and all those other creators, Zed Chateau, et cetera, that all that passion, that's what it's about. So, and we feed off that, but we stick to our guns, and we provide, we want to provide as much transparency as possible without shooting ourselves in the foot, right? So we're always open, man. We're always there, and we're always responsive. Sometimes there's a few people, I guess, where they expect that we should be answering them straight away, and that's not how it works. That's not how a big corporation is going to work. We don't have time for that. But at the end of the day, we'll come through on our blogs and our Discord channels. You can see the communication is picking up. Is it perfect? No. Is anything perfect? Never. But we are getting better, and I think you have to kind of zoom out and look at that trajectory and see that the improvements over time are there, just like zooming out and looking at Ethereum over the last 5 years, right?
True. Yeah.
So it's just we're business minded, man, and we want this to succeed as much as anybody else, man. This is our bread and butter, right? We're pouring our passion into this, so
yeah, for sure. And I'm not sure how long you have got to stick with us, but if you're happy with us still firing questions,
yeah, go, man. I got another. I was, you booked me for 30 minutes. You're good.
Yeah.
I always got time.
I've got a question. So when I first joined back in March, a lot of the talk on Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces was of Racetrack ownership. I'm just wondering if that's something that's still.
Yeah, look, it's of course, that is a huge play, and it's again, it comes back to when people talk about Zed again, right? I always go, it's an ecosystem. It's not a game. It's an ecosystem, because what it is, it's enabling the community to control, right? And we really believe in decentralization, and of course, we have to have some control over the ecosystem, breeding fees and whatnot, and races and whatnot, so it doesn't get too kind of oversaturated and diluted. We have to make sure that it's, again, following the trajectory long term. But racetrack ownership is huge, and we've talked about that. Again, it's on the cards, but it's not a priority right now, right? It's again something that we can look forward to. Again, once we have that team, it comes back to growing the team. Now, that's the most important thing right now, I'd say, is building that foundational team. So then we can build stronger, faster, and more efficiently together, right? And and on the flip side of that, tournaments, racing, and getting that all working, so you guys can keep racing and be active and have fun and enjoy the platform. So
an important thing that you guys actually released to us in one of your bi-weekly blogs, or it might have been an announcement or something, that I just want to follow up with, because I think it's a really important thing for the community to know, is, do you guys still plan on really hitting the marketing campaign hard, starting with Q1 of 2022? Again,
we've got amazing hires made, in the marketing team too. That's growing, and that's something that we are going to be hitting hard and working hard on. So
okay, yeah,
definitely.
I think that's something that once, like, a lot of people heard that and like we're accepting it, we're like, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. They gave us a date when we're going to start the marketing. That makes sense. It's a target, but just to make sure that we were still, excites me especially.
But Q1 is not
onboarding.
Sorry?
Q1's not January, I guess.
Exactly. Right? Thank you, Bob.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Not January 1st.
When they say when they say this is due end of day. That's for me. That's 11:59.
Okay, so we're talking
on the 59 second. I deliver it.
So we're looking at April or something.
We're looking March 15th.
Yeah, sure. No, it's important. Of course, it's important. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No, I was just saying, in terms of onboarding people and bringing people on and deciding when to do things like that, the marketing campaign and kind of matching all those things up. I know I've had conversations with people that have said that they're kind of waiting until that starts to coincide with it so it can grow together. So I think people are excited for when that officially does take off. It's kind of a next stepping stone.
Yeah, it's a perfect point you bring up. Like, we're aiming to first off build a stronger foundation, right, of the product, and then we have to also ensure that onboarding is ready for the masses, right?
Yeah.
So there's no reason to go out and do this like crazy hype campaigns and go, yeah, this is the shit and blah 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 blah, and then get millions of users coming in, but then they sit there and go, what the fuck is this, right? Everybody who knows that it's not an easy step process right now to get into NFT gaming, right, or crypto in its own right, So there's a lot of education there, and there is a process that needs to be, enhanced. So we're ready for that. So,
do you have any plans with breeding and racing to peg them to like the US dollar to keep them on the same currency or not?
Yeah, we've got a new product manager again. So again, a new hire who's just focused on a really talented guy actually. Who's just focused on breeding. So that's something that's in discussion for sure. But, I'm not going to say what it is. Again.
Yeah, no. Do you have an economist on the team?
An economist?
Yeah.
Yeah. We do.
No, because I remember just someone brought it up the other day, and I was just thinking about how important if you're actually, like you said, trying to build an ecosystem that would involve some sort of monetary that kind of building that out.
Yeah, exactly. We do. And an economy is important because, again, all the investments that put in, you guys have to see a way where you can get a return on these investments, either by, if it's racing, breeding, tournaments, skins, whatever it may be.
So in terms of the metaverse, we know you've got a big plot in the Sandbox. That's on the up and up, as we all know.
The Sandbox is doing good.
We've got the ZHQ in Decentraland.
Yeah.
Is the team looking to, really send a lot of users that way in terms of watching events I've had with the Melbourne Cup?
Yeah. Did you jump in?
I didn't make it for that because it was a bad time zone. But
a bad time zone. You weren't doing a 12-hour stream then?
Not for that one.
Why not, Joe? No, look, it's a huge play. I mean, I think metaverse. I mean, again, it's not only just trending, but it's real, right? It is something that is coming, and I'm very bullish, and the team is very bullish on. The new internet, Web3. Again, I think it's we're going to have more agency in these digital worlds, and ZHQ is definitely one of our plays there. Sandbox, we've got plans for. Again, it will be treated differently than ZHQ, so you get a different experience. If you know what Sandbox is more of a gamified experience where you can create mini games and create little, I've got this carnival idea brewing, but also with racing around it. And then you've got ZHQ, right, which we've had some really great events in there, and it's just scratching the surface of what's possible. And again, then linking partnerships like Melbourne Cup was huge for us. And again, to see Melbourne Cup from the digital space and have DJ Havana in there and people coming in and dressing up and being a part of that digital world. Reversely, we've also had a race sponsored in the real world by Zed, and horses with their silks on with the Zed logo. I mean, that, again, humbling beyond and blowing my mind, but it's really important that we kind of stick to that. The metaverse isn't only going to be digital, right? And in my mind, the metaverse is also going to be where you bring digital elements into our reality. Again, we're waiting for these smart glasses from Apple or Google or whoever's going to be.
Sorry, something's not right.
Oh shit, there's Google. There she is. She's always listening. Anyway, yeah, something's not right, Google. Don't tell Facebook. We're waiting. Like, again, it's something that I'm very bullish on, and something that I've been in the innovation space for a while. If you look at my career, I was 3 years at a university, the technology here in Sydney, where we focused on innovation with emerging technologies, like projecting the future, right? So we did a lot of really, really cool applications with like the HoloLenses and Magic Leaps, but those things aren't consumer facing yet. Once those glasses you have on, Joe, right, and Zook are tethered to the cloud, right, and they have a little chip, and then you're getting your 7G or 10G network, and you got cloud rendering, you're going to be able to see your horse in front of you or other digital objects and whatnot. And that's really what I think is going to be the key to the metaverse as well, is that we're not just jumping into a digital world, but we're bringing that digital world into ours as well. So it's all about, an equilibrium and balance in that sense. But yeah, so to answer your question again, long story short, Decentraland, Sandbox, they're huge plays for us in that space, because it's also about the metaverse having to be, interoperable, right? Right now, there's all these little silos of these worlds, but we need them all working together. So, which is not just down to us; it's down to the greater community who's building it. Just like the internet isn't owned by one body. There's plenty of big stakeholders, right? Facebook has its stake, Google has its stake, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You guys have your stake with what you're doing using the internet, for example, and you're contributing to that. And the same is going to be for the metaverse. It's just going to be three-dimensional. It's going to offer more agency, more gamification, and it's scary too, right? Like, you can easily go down this track of Ready Player One, where people are just going to lose themselves, but they're already doing that with video games today, right? So yeah. I think it's our responsibility collectively, not just mine or my teams, but everyone, to just be aware that there's there needs to be balance with these things.
Yeah, for sure.
More forward, very, very forward-thinking topics to just ask about and see if we can get anything from you. Is anything about DES and anything about a future burn function in the game?
Yeah, look, tokenomics is something that we've been putting a lot of work into the background. When, I'm not going to give you anything. It's still research heavy, but like, again, coming from a gamification perspective, like, tokenomics is going to be a huge play, right? Think about games like Fortnite or Call of Duty, and you think about battle passes, you think about all these VC points and points you earn. You just layer that with NFT utility and tokenomics and crypto coins, right? Like, now it's a true play to earn functionality, right? But again, like, we want to do this right, so the research is being done. Yes, we put our DES paper out a while ago. We listened to the people, and we're still working on that now. And like you said, like you asked if we have any economic people on our team, we do, and they're really focused on this side of things too. The tokenomics is a huge play. But again, moon landing, we're not going to rush this stuff, right?
Yeah,
want to get it right. So
how about the second portion again? If you don't have anything, I can't.
Yeah, what was that one?
A burn function.
Yeah, look,
everyone knows eventually there's going to have to be something.
Well, yeah, maybe. I mean, but it's something that we are considering. We know the community wants it, but it's also something that we have to look into in terms of the economics of the ecosystem, right? So I know Rob and Jeff addressed this in their AMA when was that? It's like a month ago almost. And similarly, it is something that we are, looking into. But I feel like, and I'm very bullish on this statement too, we're going to be able to make a ecosystem where every horse is going to have its place to shine. It might not be first division, it might be 7th division, it might be 10th division, but just like in the real world, I'm not going to go and try out for an NBA team nor a Div 1 college team, but I might be able to make Div 3 or something like that, you know what I mean, or whatever, right? So there's always a place, and that's really important to understand that will take time to build out as well.
No, that makes sense.
So, but I'm not saying no to the I can see a burn function being, like, personally, I can see that working as well. But again, it's something we have to actually.
No, I mean, what you said was, the counter is the other option of what you would do besides the burn function, right? You're only burning horses that don't have a place in the ecosystem. The way that you wouldn't need to burn them is if you create a place in the ecosystem.
Exactly.
You want. So it's one or the other. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be either or. So
it could be one or the other, or it could be a combination of both. Like, maybe it really comes down to the gamification and the utility that we decide to provide, and there's so many million ways to do it, right? So yeah, the team are looking into that as well.
Awesome.
Are there any plans for like odds replacements or anything like that with the Flames, because they were supposed to be temporary? Do you have any more on that or not?
No, I don't actually have any answers on that. but no, I mean, we know why we got rid of odds, right? It was kind of ruining the game. Like the fact that you could race a horse once and then just see where he or she stands was silly, right? It takes away the discoverability. Race your horse enough times, you now are generating the odds, right? So it's kind of, I know why we got it, but whether we're going to bring odds back remains to be seen. Can't answer that. I will neither confirm or deny.
Fair. That's fair.
That makes sense. On to finding a place for every horse in the ecosystem. What do you think would be the next racing differential in terms of like weather or ground or country or something cool like that?
Yeah. No, weather would be so dope. We've got some cool plans for weather. And same with the track surfaces. Again, it's something that Rob and Jeff spoke to in the last AMA as well. I mean, we can find that. You can find that on the community ZED RUN blog. And just to echo what that is stuff that we want to do. I mean, stamina was that next piece in that puzzle. But again, we have to get the foundation right. We got to get. We're going through this growing stage. It is something that we will bring, but when, again, is not for me to answer. But those things are huge, same with like gate preferences, like adding more of this kind of discovery and game of strategy and skill, figuring out where these horses fare and whatnot. It's big. It's big. And it's real world. It's what they do in the real world too. So we got to honor that.
With regards to like weather, if weather was a factor, would it say you're going to like pick a race? Would it say this is raining, or would it say this is like 60% chance of rain? Because
I'll tell you what I really want to do. But again, I've got my team researching this right now. Whether we do it or not, I won't say. So don't hold me to it. But what I want to do again is it's coming back to blending the real and the digital, right? And I would love that if you're going to race in New York now, that we tap into the weather system of the weather in New York now, right? And that so to cool. Me, I think that's cool. I think that's what what the metaverse should be about. It shouldn't be about just sci-fi creating your own weather. It should be linked to the world somehow. So these two worlds coexist, right, and collide. And that would be cool because then you can look at the 7-day forecast and then pick a place in the country and then kind of strategize around that with real world weather, right? I think that would be super
skill
cool
as well.
Yeah, exactly. Skill and strategy, right? So I think that would be super cool. But again, don't hold me to it.
We will.
I know you will. I know
that idea is about attaching weather to what the weather is actually like in those places is actually like a next level idea. Because I'm even thinking about when you mentioned earlier about the live events, like in New York City, like if that ZED is throwing an event in a week and the event is that day, now you're looking at weather.com. Do I enter? Do I even not enter? Like, what if I enter because it says it's going to rain, so I enter a horse that's good in rain and it doesn't rain?
That's what I mean.
Like,
exactly. And then you can blame
happens.
You can blame the meteorologist like we always do. They never get it. That's the best job in the world. I wish I had that
just
job. You're gonna say, it's gonna be sunny. Oh shit, it rained. So what?
How are we supposed
pretty much happens everywhere in the world.
Well, I've learned, and not to go off on a tangent, but if you say in my town it has a 70% chance of rain, it doesn't mean that there's a 70% chance it rains everywhere. It means it's definitely raining, but only 70% of this area is getting hit.
Sounds like flames.
So no one gets it?
Yeah. It's made up.
No, that's cool. No, I agree. I mean, the weatherman's always right and he's always wrong, but he gets away with it. And the weatherman. So anyway, I think I got a split. You got any last questions?
No, I think that was awesome. I think soon is going to be the grand finals, and we're going to have your guy Anthony pop up and
awesome.
Call some of the races.
Anthony's dope. Anthony's dope. Yeah. Anyway, hey, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having me on, and thanks again for all the awesome work you guys do and girls out there. I mean, this community is growing and it's growing stronger every day. Appreciate all the hard work you guys put into it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ev.
And thank you
All
for
right.
coming up as well. It's great.
No
to
worries,
hear from
man.
you.
It was nice to meet you guys, and we'll chat soon for sure.
Peace
Awesome.
out.